Welcome to another episode of MarketSnapshot, and here are the key things you need to know ahead of this week. We've had the PMI figures coming out of the Eurozone and UK last week, which are good indicators of the economic activity between different countries, and this showed a slowdown, especially in Europe. The Eurozone reported PMI figures of 52.6 for services and 45.6 for manufacturing. The UK PMI was also slightly below expectation at around 51, but this was partially offset by stronger than expected retail sales, which grew by 2.9%. The USD yen is again at the center of the attention. On Friday, it closed at 34-year high again, nearing that 159 level. Japan's core CPI fell to 2.5%, and the US Treasury has added Japan to its top currency monitoring list. Upcoming this week, we've got some really strong data coming out of Japan. Keep an eye on Japan's retail sales data set to be released on June 27, and the unemployment rate scheduled for June 28. As discussed, let's go through the economic calendar. We've got the core inflation out of Canada, which is at 0.2% on the forecast. Retail sales year on year at 1.8 out of Japan. Unemployment forecast is at 2.6 in Japan. Then you've got the personal income in the US, which is at 0.4% forecast. As you might have guessed, today's chart is the dollar yen. We've got the daily chart up on the screen. We want to look at the pair going back at the beginning. The 50 moving average indicator lies perfectly, giving us a very defined uptrend, and you can see there is a breakout towards around 159. There's not much technical resistance up to this level at 160. The Bank of Japan is likely to intervene. There is a very clear bullish technical setup. If you look at the RSI here at the bottom, it's approaching overbought level. Is nowhere as much as April levels, but it's certainly hitting the 70 RSI. As I mentioned, later in the week, we've got some really strong data coming out of Japan, which is their retail data, and the forecast is at 1.8%. And what's interesting about that is that the retail data was much higher in the previous month, sitting at 2.4%, and there's a slightly drop in expectation, which could have a significant impact if the Japanese authorities don't intervene.